The Wells Report returns in 30 seconds. North to south, coast to coast, around the world, this is the Wells Report. On this broadcast, we report the news honestly and fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We point out both. We de-propagandize the mainstream media. We do make commentary. Commentary is not news. Commentary is opinion, both yours and mine. So let's share, let's compare, let's debate. News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. Thanks very much for joining us. I know I've been off for a few days. Got a lot of cool things to do from a standpoint of my day job, and I have to say that while I adore the Wells Report and doing this broadcast every day, there are times when I simply just don't have enough hours in the day to be able to do everything that I am driven passionately to do. And so thanks very much for your forbearance of not being on the air last week beyond Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday I had to prepare for some things. I am a Texas State Guardsman. Not that anything I say has anything to do with the Texas State Guard or the Texas Military Department. I had a wonderful time with my unit over the weekend and had a real ball. So let's get into the news and let's talk about what's going on. A federal magistrate has ordered Ryan Ruth detained until trial on gun charges over a golf course incident with former President Donald Trump that prosecutors said Ruth described in a handwritten note as an assassination attempt that failed. This from USA Today. U.S. Magistrate Ryan McCabe ordered Ruth detained without bond after a 3-hour hearing in Florida, where federal prosecutors linked him to the rifle found at Trump International Golf Club. They found a fingerprint on that rifle. It's his. His cell phone was tracked near the golf course and Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in the month before his arrest, September 15th, according to court filings by prosecutors. Ruth was arrested after witnesses saw him leave the golf course while Trump was playing. A Secret Service agent fired several shots at his suspect, who leveled a rifle from the foliage along the 6th hole. FBI agents found an SKS semi-automatic rifle. It's similar to an AK-47, but a different rifle. It was loaded with 12 rounds of ammunition where Ruth was originally hiding, and one of those rounds was in the chamber of the rifle. He allegedly left a handwritten letter in a metal box with someone who was not named in the court filing for prosecutors months before the incident at the golf course. The witness opened the box after hearing about Ruth's arrest, and law enforcement visited that person September 18th. The box contained ammunition, a metal pipe, building materials, 4 phones, and several letters. CNN reported on this story, in fact, and what we want to do is we want to show you that report. This from Aaron Burnett out front, and we'll take that to you or give that to you right this moment here on the Wells Report. Oops, hit the wrong button.
Ryan Ruth, the 58-year-old man accused of trying to assassinate former President Trump at his Florida golf club. Now, Ruth is the lone suspect arrested so far, but investigators are still trying to answer the crucial question of whether anyone else was involved. And it comes as we are learning a lot more about Ruth's history. Kyung La is out front.
Federal agents entered Ryan Ruth's home in Ka'ava, Hawaii, executing court-authorized search warrants, trying to piece together how a man described as delusional, obsessed with national and global politics, would cross the ocean and the continental U.S. and allegedly attempt to kill a former president. Neighbors who saw Ruth just weeks ago didn't see immediate signs.
Never said a word. Nothing. No Trump, no nothing. Never raised his voice, never Never seen him mad.
But Ruth's criminal history does reveal a decades-long history with law enforcement, dating back to the late 1990s. In April 2002, Ruth was arrested and later convicted for possessing an explosive, described in court records as a binary explosive device with a 10-inch detonation cord and a blasting cap.
I knew who he was.
Later in 2002, retired Greensboro Police Sergeant Tracy Falk pulled Ruth over. He fled and barricaded himself inside his business.
Because I knew his history with guns or different weapons, I decided not to follow him in, and we set up a perimeter. We called out special response, and then we were eventually able to get him out of the house.
About 6 years ago, Ruth moved to Hawaii and picked up steam on social media, taking on small and large causes like the war in Ukraine, even tweeting at Ukraine's president, "I will fly from America and fight with you." Ruth kept that pledge to travel there. With the help of a GoFundMe, he landed in Ukraine in April 2022.
Putin is a terrorist, and he needs to be ended.
Chelsea Walsh, a nurse, met Ruth in Kyiv at one of those protests.
He was very delusional, but he acted on his delusions. He was dangerous.
Walsh found Ruth's behavior so alarming that she reported his name to Customs and Border Patrol when she returned to the U.S. in 2022 and listed Ruth as the most concerning American she met in Ukraine.
And I told him that out of everyone on that list, Ryan Ruth, that lived in Hawaii, was the number one person to watch because he was a ticking time bomb. Something was going to happen with him. Ryan's behaviors were escalating and nobody was stopping him.
In March of 2023, Ruth continued his global travels for the Ukrainian cause, landing in Washington, D.C., visiting Capitol Hill, asking members of Congress to help. 2 representatives confirmed Ruth showed up at their offices without an appointment, but did not meet him in person. Then in June of 2023, he tweeted he traveled to Taiwan and posted this photo from Taipei. He said he went to recruit supporters to defend its sovereignty. And on March 5th, 2024, records place Ruth in Guilford County, North Carolina, where he voted in person in the Democratic primary election.
This guy, I mean, you look at his rap sheet, you look at the things he's been involved in. This guy had red flags. How the heck did it end up where he's in West Palm Beach in those bushes?
Kyung, just learning all of this, there's so much you've learned, and I know so much they're trying to find out as they're searching his homes. What are they looking for?
What we are hearing from the PIO of the FBI, producer Anna-Maya Rapart, is still outside the house, and she's talking to them, and they've been there, Aaron, almost 7 hours. They are not giving an end time to how long they're going to be there, and in part because there are still so many questions that remain about how he was funding his life in Hawaii. How was he funding all of this global travel, the communications, how he got to Florida, how long was he in Florida, as well as where did this gun come from? So there are still so many big questions in this investigation that are left to answer. Hence, the FBI is still going through that home, Aaron.
Yeah, and that is what they were reporting on CNN. And so this guy is kind of a conundrum. He's kind of odd. And this letter that we're talking about here is something that essentially asks more questions than it answers. All I can say on this is that this is one odd duck here. And is he operating alone? Who knows? Who knows? So the letters, it says, "Dear world, this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I'm so sorry I failed you." And prosecutors said a Secret Service agent fired at Roth after spotting a rifle poking out of a tree line several holes ahead of where Trump was golfing September 15th. Ruth was spotted by a witness running away from the scene and driving off. During the hearing, prosecutor Mark Dispoto said that Ruth had traveled to West Palm Beach for one reason and one reason only, and that was to end Donald Trump. He had a clear line of fire from his sniper's nest. This is at odds with Secret Service testimony on that same subject. Ruth had a clear line of fire from his sniper's nest from the chain link fence bordering the Trump International Golf Club, said Despoto. The prosecutor added that Trump was 12 to 15 minutes away from arriving at the sixth hole, where Ruth had cleared a shot or had a clear shot from around 100 feet away. It was an easy shot, said Despoto. The setup from Ruth's position, which included bags hung on the fence with armored plates inside that were able to withstand shots from pistols Secret Service agents carry, was nothing short of a sniper position, said Despoto, something you might see in a movie or a war zone. Defense attorneys for Ruth argued the crude way the scope was attached to the rifle with tape indicated the work of an unsophisticated, unknowledgeable individual. When defense attorney Renee Shivola took issue with the prosecutor suggesting the setup was something out of a war where tape indicated it's frankly not, the judge questioned whether she was trying to argue that if he's an assassin, he's not a very good one. Good question from the judge. I'm not interested in his level of skill to carry out these acts, said the judge. Prosecutors said Ruth was in the area of Trump's golf course in the former president's Mar-a-Lago estate across several or multiple days in the month before he was arrested, and had done a Google search of how to travel from Florida to Mexico on one of his phones. He also had a handwritten list of dates and venues where Trump was expected to appear in the lead up to the 2024 presidential election. So how's this guy being funded? How's he funding himself? How's he moving around? What does he eat? Where does he stay? What's the story on this black Nissan? Where did the stolen plates come from? Who were they stolen from? We don't know any of the answers to these questions. We absolutely don't. Then when it comes down to the letter itself, Bill Barr, the former Attorney General of the United States during the Trump administration, said this. He was dumbfounded that the Justice Department released a chilling letter penned by would-be assassin Ryan Wesley Ruth, calling the decision rash, serving no purpose other than to, quote, risk inciting further violence, unquote. Ruth is the suspect in the former President Donald Trump's second foiled assassination attempt. The DOJ obtained the letter from a witness who said he received it inside a box delivered to them by Ruth several months before the assassination attempt. This, by the way, being reported by Fox News. The box contained several handwritten letters as well as ammunition, among other things. One of the letters addressed Dear World admitted the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. He also offered money to anybody willing to finish the job. Money from where? Again, this was months before the actual assassination attempt, and he had written a letter theoretically in the box that said, I failed in the attempt. So Bill Barr said this, I was dumbfounded. The DOJ made public this morning the contents of the letter that Ryan Ruth left with an acquaintance prior to the attempted assassination of former President Trump. This according to Fox News in a statement to Fox News Digital. The letter continued, the statement from Bill Barr continued. The letter calls on people to finish the job of killing President Trump, attempts to rouse people in incendiary terms to do so, offers $150,000 to anyone who succeeds. There was no apparent justification for releasing the information at this stage. Barr served during both the Trump and George H.W. Bush administrations, said that the DOJ had more than enough evidence to have Ruth detained pending trial without publicizing these details. Quote, even if DOJ thought it was important to provide the letter to the court, it could have redacted inflammatory material or arranged to have the letter submitted under seal. It was rash to put out this letter in the midst of an election during which 2 attempts on the life of President Trump have been made. Is the DOJ trying to get Donald Trump killed? That's the question I'm asking you. Is it possible that the DOJ is trying to incite a successful assassination attempt on Donald Trump? Further, do you think indeed that it is possible that Donald Trump may indeed suffer another attempt on his life? Back with more on that coming up in a moment. This is The Wells Report.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. So what's going on? What's going on? Donald Trump has had 2 assassination attempts. 2. Mysterious, vaporous guys we don't know anything about. We don't have any idea who these people are. Thomas Matthew Crooks is gone. Shot in the mouth by a Secret Service sniper. What's going to happen with this? What's going to happen with this Ryan Ruth character, Ryan Wesley Ruth? Is he going to have an unfortunate suicide because of his cell roommate? I mean, if there is some kind of a conspiracy, do you believe that it would be forwarded or hindered by him speaking? Something tells me that if indeed there is something else going on with this guy, that his fatal disappearance may be imminent. But I want to know just exactly what you think. Do you believe that Donald Trump is being set up by the DOJ? We saw something incredibly ugly during the Trump administration. It was something that was referred to as the deep state. The theory being politically weaponized executive branch agencies that would act extracurricular to the Constitution of the United States, the Bill of Rights of the United States, even circumventing American law based on politics and not enforcement. We saw all of those things played out in front of us, apologized for by the mainstream media in ways they continue to this day. And so, did they just go away? I am appalled at the idea that the deep state, caught red-handed during the Trump administration, still continuing operations as if nothing happened. I cannot believe that there haven't been absolute, definitive, legal actions against these people. It appears as though they're still in business. Oh no, they're not actually taking part, at least so far, in the assassination of Donald Trump. What they're doing is essentially getting out of the way. They're just getting out of the way. Say what you want about this letter that Attorney General William Barr is appalled by, but he does have a very good point. The only public interest in any of this would be to inflame the public. Why else would it happen? Why would that be necessary? Unless you wanted somebody else to know that somehow Ryan Ruth had come up with $150,000 to pay someone who would, quote, finish the job, unquote. What business is that of the American people? Unless you're trying to convince somebody that they should kill Donald Trump. I am patiently waiting for answers on that. I would really like to know what you think. Here are the questions. Is the DOJ setting up Donald Trump? Is the deep state the DOJ? Are these two organizations intertwined? And are they trying to get Donald Trump killed? Do you believe that Ryan Ruth is going to make it much past, next week? And if he doesn't make it past next week, who do you think might be responsible for his, I'm just going to make it plain, his upcoming death? And I want to know why it is that after all this time, we still don't have the answers required by a responsible federal law enforcement agency and the DOJ and the Secret Service. Why don't we have that information? Back in a moment.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us tonight. Our telephone number is 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. If you have something to say, join us. Love to hear what you have on your mind tonight. I spoke at length about Kamala Harris and her past, and that those pieces of video would be finding their way into the American consciousness. And they are, in dribs and drabs. Every now and then we keep hearing something about Kamala Harris and things that she said in the past that are detrimental to her. And she has set up this matrix, in my humble opinion. She set up this matrix of things that are deleterious to her chances to become the president of the United States. In the rare interviews she does, she says things like, My values haven't changed, but my policies have. Prompting Bernie Sanders to say, well, she's being pragmatic about saying whatever she needs to say to get elected. This is a paraphrase, of course. Doing whatever she has to do to get elected to the presidency. But if her values haven't changed, her policies have, then where does she stand? No one knows. That's problem number one. Problem number two is she refuses to define herself. And so those of us looking for answers, not in a partisan way, thank you very much, just looking for answers. Those of us looking for answers can't find them. That's another problem. And the third problem are these pieces of video that keep showing up that are at odds with what she's saying now. And then again, she does not continue the logical course of action, which would be to indeed define herself in ways that are credible and real and apparently unscripted. All we've seen is a very carefully manicured, very carefully constructed idea of Kamala Harris. So that being said, remember Jesse Smollett? Well, he was doing his leftist thing in California, and guess who joined him? Kamala Harris. And what was that? What was the purpose of that connection? Well, this from Fox News on what they thought about the whole thing. Check this out. Okay, it'll be coming up in just a couple of moments. And so this was a rally that would go with her ideas of how she didn't want to deport anybody that had come to the United States illegally. Here is that report. Does that look like somebody that should be the president of the United States? That's a question. I'm not trying to cast aspersions. I'm looking for answers. And I think an awful lot of people that are also looking for those very same answers. This from Fox News. This is the article that goes with that video. New emerged footage. It's actually not footage because we don't shoot film anymore. We shoot video. Newly emerged video shows then Senator Kamala Harris, the Democrat from California, chanting down, down with deportation at a parade in Los Angeles in 2018. She was pursuing more aggressively left-wing positions on migration. The video, obtained by Fox News, took place at the 2018 annual Kingdom Day Parade, where she was the Grand Marshal. In the clip, she joins a chant of up with education, down, down with deportation, as she chants along while applauding and smiling. The video was first reported by Daily Mail Online, which noted that in the video is actor Jussie Smollett, who would eventually be convicted of falsely claiming to have been attacked by Trump supporters in Chicago. Harris came to Smollett's defense shortly after he falsely claimed that he was attacked by Trump supporters, saying this was an attempted modern-day lynching. No one should have to fear for their life because of their sexuality or the color of their skin. Harris adopted left-wing proposals in her 2019 primary campaign, which did not withstand a test from the voters. She quit before the Iowa caucuses. She promised to expand the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrival, that's DACA, as defined by former President Barack Obama. She wanted to do it by executive order that gives protection to illegal migrants brought to the United States as minors. She said she would eliminate age requirements on applications and use parole authority to create a parole in place program to put those illegal immigrants on a path to citizenship. Since becoming the 2024 presidential nominee, she faced scrutiny over her role overseeing the root causes of the migrant crisis at the southern border, which led her to being dubbed the border czar. She also shifted some of her campaign positions, moving to the center. Her campaign confirmed to Fox that she changed her positions on a number of immigration and border security policies, including decriminalizing illegal crossings and closing immigration detention centers. She hasn't withstood any kind of questioning on that by anyone. And once again, you have to ask why. You have to ask why. You also have to understand that a lot of this does not make any sense and does not withstand even casual scrutiny. It simply doesn't. If you happen to know the answers to this question, these questions, share them. 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. I'm waiting. I'll put you right on the air. Now, I will ask you questions. Not to try to play gotcha games, but to try to amplify, clarify your points. I want to know what you believe her standards or her governing philosophy or her agenda is. Tell me. 817-379-2172. You'd be doing all of us a great service. Because if you can make sense out of all this, I think all of us need to know, don't you? And so this was what I foretold from the moment she became the Democrat nominee, without a single primary vote. She did do a debate where the moderators of that debate saw fit to essentially gang up on Donald Trump, fact-checking him 5 times, fact-checking Kamala Harris 0 times, when she clearly made statements that were at odds with the truth. And that's pretty much all we have. Did she actually explain any of this stuff? No. I believe that her entire presidential campaign is based on one thing and one thing only. That she is not Donald Trump, and that she's doing everything she can to keep Donald Trump from becoming the president of the United States. Okay, that's her own particular axe to grind. And yeah, she probably has some people that believe her and agree with her. Okay. Well, why? Why is that agreement in place? Is it because it's working? She's not Donald Trump? Donald Trump is the existential issue facing this nation? Is that true? 817-379-2172. I don't see it's true. Donald Trump is not the issue. The economy is. The border is. Crime is. Although there's information about crime that we'll be discussing here in a couple of minutes that is equally baffling, at least in my opinion. Donald Trump talks about the issues that he sees as important to the United States. Kamala Harris talks about Donald Trump. So, where does she stand? What does she believe? Her values haven't changed, but her policies have. She's changed on immigration. Okay, that's fine. What are those changes? Specifically, what is her plan? In 2018, her plan was to end deportation, apparently, and to parole in place anybody who was brought to this nation as a child by their law-breaking parents who crossed the border illegally. So is that it? Well, if that's it, how come she doesn't say so? I have on this broadcast offered to my advice to Kamala Harris. Ms. Vice President, if you are truly interested in your values, if they are something more than just a virtue signal to your leftist buddies, if all of these things are still in place inside your mind, and they must be. Why do I say that? Good question. They must be because she won't define them. She won't actually stand up for them, but she won't not stand up for them. In other words, she's hoping that ambiguity will carry the day. It's a pig in a poke presidential campaign. It's a Pelosi-esque, well, you have to elect her to find out what her values and her agenda actually is. We have to pass the bill before you can find out what's inside it. What? I'm just simply trying to ask. I'm not trying to run Kamala Harris off the road. I'm trying to figure out what to talk about with her. Do I talk about her values? Do I talk about her supposed policies? She disavows the ideas, her values from a political standpoint, and does say, yes, she's changed on several issues. But she doesn't say why. Why did she change? Famously against fracking, wanted to end fracking. That in her nascent and unsuccessful presidential campaign of last election cycle. Now she says, we haven't done anything to stop fracking. That's not true. It's not true. The only fracking that's going on anywhere in the United States is off federal property. And so, I mean, there are a lot of ways of getting things done in the bureaucratic mess that is the United States government, isn't there? Or in this case, getting things not done. Gasoline, too expensive. Groceries, too expensive. The strangulation of America's energy supply for a political endeavor is plain. And why? I'm not trying to argue. I'm not trying to debate. I'm not that kind of journalist. I'm asking sincere questions. Vice President Harris, what is your actual stance? What is your belief? We're not going to end fracking. Okay. Are you going to take steps to make America energy independent so we don't have to be beholden to people with oil from elsewhere in the world? I'd love to hear that answer, wouldn't you? This is the Wells Report. Back with more in a moment.
Vallarta.
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. The USA Today newspaper reports that violent crime in the U.S. declined for the third straight year in 2023, including instances of murder, rape, and assault. This according to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They were released today. The estimates were released. Overall violent crime decreased 3% compared to the prior year, according to the FBI statistics. Murder decreased more than 11%. Rape fell roughly 9%. The decreases follow a sharp uptick in crime during the COVID-19 pandemic when the murder rate spiked in its largest single-year increase on record. Violent crime then ticked back down slightly in 2021 and again in 2022, according to the FBI National Crime Estimates. Crime rates have become a key issue in the 2024 presidential campaign. The report today on violent crime trends run counter to claims by Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump, who has repeatedly attacked Democrat rival Kamala Harris for her record on crime and safety, and claimed, according to USA Today, here it is again, without evidence, that migrants who cross the border illegally are responsible for a rising tide of violent crime. President Joe Biden, in a statement, praised the decline in crime, noting that his administration's investments in public safety and executive actions on guns. Harris said that while the numbers represent great progress, we are not stopping now. Okay, so that is from USA Today. Here is a report. This from The Independent. The FBI has released its first quarterly figures. This is a little bit ago. Of 2024, which said it showed a continuation of a historic decline in violent crime from last year, but ignores a big factor in the data. The figures from the quarterly Uniform Crime Report indicate a 15% drop in the first 3 months of the year. Remember, this was last quarter, or excuse me, the first quarter of 2023. Now we're reporting the last quarter of 2023 in the current interest. But listen to this. The data makes clear that last year's historic decline in violent crime is continuing, according to DOJ Attorney General Merrick Garland. The data, however, informing the FBI figures is supplied voluntarily by law enforcement agencies across the U.S. and do not include major metropolitan areas, including Los Angeles and New York, where crime is historically high. The LAPD and NYPD are the two largest police forces in the nation. They have not included all FBI data, or they are not included in the FBI data, which could have changed the data had it been included. The FBI data for 2024 has yet to be released beyond a short press announcement about the total. The data has not been publicly released for specific regions or states in the country. The last publicly available figures are from 2022. Not so much, though. Violent crime, according to this latest report, is trending down for the third straight year. You talk to 10 criminologists, you might get 10 different answers. This, according to Jeff Asher, a crime data analyst who worked with the CIA and the Department of Defense. So explaining it is very difficult with any form of crime data, especially when you're sort of in the middle of the trend, and especially if a lot of the reporting agencies don't report. In the latest report released today, aggravated assaults declined an average or an estimated 2.8%, robbery 0.3%. Despite the overall decrease, instances of certain offenses, including motor vehicle theft and hate crimes, rose in 2023. Hate crimes. This also according to the FBI, which cautioned that the decrease in hate crimes, or the increase rather in hate crimes, could be due to higher reporting. President Trump said that if he's reelected, according to USA Today, he would institute the death penalty for human traffickers and drug dealers. He does not believe federal statistics like the FBI report showing violent crime trends declining. FBI officials declined to comment when asked about President Trump's claim in a call with reporters, but said the agency's methodology has been consistent. Now, that's a very interesting statement. Here, let me explain. The methodology hasn't changed. The way we actually calculate the figures hasn't changed. But you're not getting all of the figures, are you? So your methodology is irrelevant. If you don't have all the data required for a real crime estimate, then essentially what you're doing is cherry-picking information and reporting something politically advantageous. Which begs the question, does the FBI need to be more political or less political? Because there can be no other explanation for this report at this moment, especially considering the glaring omissions of United States big city police departments not taking part in this. I often say the science of propaganda is what you leave out. Oh yeah, you can take a story that has, let's say, 10 facts. Okay? It's got 10 facts. But if 3 of them are damaging to your political endeavors, then you only report 7 of them. Are the resultant statistics explainable? Sure, our methodology hasn't changed. But how you calculate the numbers is meaningless if you don't have all the numbers. So again, do we need more deep state or less deep state? Does the DOJ, does it need to play more politics or less politics? Do we actually need to know in the United States what the real truth is? I believe we do. If you disagree, please, by all means, explain. 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. This is the Wells Report for this Monday, the 23rd day of September, year of our Lord 2024.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship.
Call 877-655-6870. That's 877-655-6870. 877-655-6870.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
North to south, coast to coast, around the world. This is the Wells Report. Hi, my name is John David Wells. What do we do on this broadcast? We report the news honestly and fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We point out both. We do make commentary. Commentary is not news. Commentary is opinion. Yeah, commentary being opinion, it is something we differentiate between when we report the news. We report the news and then we have opinion. Yours and mine. Let's share. Let's compare. Let's debate. 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. Let's see the chat room. Let's see, I'm wondering if you're on Truth Social yet. Yes, I am on Truth Social. I don't spend a lot of time there, but yes, I am indeed there. Let's see what else we have here as we go through some of the chats that we have so far. Let's see, it's possible, even probable, the DOJ is absolutely corrupt. That was in response, that was from Brock. That was in response to whether or not you thought that Donald Trump was being set up for assassination by the DOJ. And okay, the deep state that goes with the DOJ, apparently. Let's see, Yvonne on crime stats. It's possible that the crime stats are being suppressed the same way terrorists coming across the border are being suppressed as well. Completely correct. A whistleblower lawman who saw that stuff firsthand was dissuaded from reporting the fact that 3 times as many terrorists that have been reported coming across the southern border actually came across the southern border. Do we know that's true? No, we don't know whether it's true. We have one guy saying, yeah, I was there. I was told to not report the statistics, which goes with what we just spoke about. If real statistics are indeed deleterious to your political endeavors, well, you got an issue. Let's see what else. What's inaccurate about labor reports is the fact that illegals are taking more of the new jobs than our citizens have. Yeah, that's also true. It's also true. So that's what's going on in the chat room. If you have something to add or you'd like to call on the phone, 817-379-2172. And so, what about polling? Polling has been manipulated for political effect for a very, very long time in this nation, at least the last 3 election cycles. And we now have enough real data to be able to say, yeah, the polls are skewed toward a particular direction. I'll let you figure out, or at least in the privacy of your own thoughts, tell me what you believe that direction might be. New polls from the New York Times and Siena College are showing that Donald Trump is ahead in Arizona and leading in tight races in Georgia and North Carolina. Voters across the Sun Belt say that Donald Trump improved their lives when he was president and worry that a Kamala Harris White House would not, setting the stage for an extraordinarily competitive contest in 3 key states, according to the latest polls from the New York Times and Siena College. The polls found out that Mr. Trump has gained a lead in Arizona and remains ahead in Georgia, 2 states he lost to President Biden in 2020, but in North Carolina, and this is biased here, this statement, But in North Carolina, which has not voted for a Democrat since 2008, Ms. Harris trails Trump by just a narrow margin. By just a narrow margin. Trump's ahead, but by just a narrow margin. That doesn't play for somebody that's actually looking for data, does it? Or is this just one of those things that's painfully obvious to me that isn't obvious to other people? It's obvious. I'm talking about the bias here. I mean, do they think they're going to get away with this? This is the New York Times, all the propaganda that's fit to print. Come on, you guys. Jeez Louise. The poll continues of these three states taken from September 17th to the 21st. By the way, I'm reading this from the New York Times directly. This is their interpretation of their data. The polls of the three states taken from September 17th to the 21st presented further evidence that in a sharply divided nation, the presidential contest is shaping up to be one of the tightest in history. Really? Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina are on the roster of 7 battleground states where the focus of both the Trump and Harris campaigns has been since Labor Day. Ms. Harris has shown relative strength in several key states across the Midwest, and most critically to her hopes of becoming president, Pennsylvania. But in Arizona, which Mr. Biden won by over 10,400 votes in 2020, there's a challenge for the Harris campaign. Mr. Trump is ahead 50 to 45%. Elsewhere, Arizona 45 for Harris, by the way, and Harris is the first thing you read in this. Let me show this to you. I'll show this to you. You can see this. You can see this right here. They have Kamala Harris first, then Donald Trump, even though Donald Trump's ahead. See, that's bias. That's just plain bias. Georgia, 45 to 49, and North Carolina, 47 to 49. Voters across the Sun Belt say that Donald Trump improved their lives. Okay. The polls also found that voters in this and that particular part of the country, the Sun Belt, were worried about their own futures and the future of the nation, discussing or suggesting that Mr. Trump's dark campaign rhetoric, our country is being lost because we're a failing nation, could be resonating with some voters. Really? Where's that in the data? Well, it's not there. So yeah, New York Times poll says, yep, it's true. President Trump's ahead. Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina. But Kamala Harris is still right there. Okay. All right. Now, USA Today reports it this way. Former President Donald Trump leads Vice President Kamala Harris in 3 critical battleground states, Arizona, North Carolina, and Georgia, according to a new poll by New York Times and Siena College. The poll released today, conducted from September 17th through the 21st, surveyed 713 voters in Arizona, 682 in Georgia, and 682 voters in North Carolina. Those samples are too small. They're too small for all 3 of those states. You've got to have somewhere in the vicinity of 1,100. Once again, what's the New York Times trying to get done? What's Siena College trying to get done? Anything? That's half the number of respondents you need in each state. So what's the plus and minus from us? Oh, yeah. The margin of error, and this is good, is between 4 and 5 percentage points. How convenient. Margin of error is 4 to 5%. Donald Trump's biggest lead's only 5%. Margin of error. You know, people look at these polls and they go, what is actually happening? Meanwhile, the political professionals are saying Donald Trump routinely polls under the reality. And why would you do this? What's the actual reason that you would do something like this? Is it because you're actually trying to come up with some kind of honest reporting on what people honestly believe, at least from a standpoint of polling? No, it's marketing. It's marketing. It starts with the very author of the surveys. Kamala Harris is right there. Could be the closest presidential race in history. Well, this is, by the way, the New York Times, the same New York Times that reported on the Russia collusion hoax and won Pulitzer Prizes for them for that reporting and didn't give them back when it was found that it was indeed a Russia collusion hoax. But here's the New York Times being quoted by virtually every newspaper in the entire world that cares about this race. I found stories from the BBC, from the London Daily Mail, Agence France Presse. I found them all over everywhere about this very poll. So what's the issue here? What are we seeing? Is it reality? Is it a snapshot in time? It's none of those things. It's apologist journalism. Kamala Harris is behind, but only just. Closest presidential race in history. And of course, what's the accountability? What is the accountability? Is there any? There were clearly problems with polling in 2016. There were clearly problems with polling in 2020. And what was fascinating about that was suddenly the Democrat, Joe Biden, had 81 million votes, the highest number of popular votes in the history of the Republic by both percentage and actual count. Joe Biden, political superstar. Really? Okay, if you want to say so. But let's assume for the sake of this discussion that the 2024 election goes off and Donald Trump wins by over 100 electoral college votes. Will any of these reports, any of this polling matter to anyone? The mainstream media isn't going to say, "Yep, we sure got that wrong." No, they're not going to say that. They're not going to say that, just like they didn't say, "Oh yeah, we reported the Russian collusion hoax that was a hoax, but we didn't know it at the time." Oh, really? Yes, you did. And you only reported the reality of it when you were dragged kicking and screaming across the finish line of truth when it was absolutely impossible not to do otherwise. So here we have another poll. Yeah. And it's valueless. It's just plain misleading. It's not real. And that's just with a cursory look at it. It offends reasonable logic. And again, I am not trying to put some partisan spin on this. As I've discussed in most of this broadcast, I'm simply looking for real answers. Clearly, this poll doesn't provide us with any. Polling very rarely does. They show trends. But we do need real data here. Or we need to sort of smoke and mirror our way into yet another Democrat win for president? Is that what we want? Oh my, I hope not. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if people can get away with not telling us what they want to do as the president of the United States and the leader of the free world, and still get themselves elected, that means that a Democrat Party or a Republican Party, either of the political parties, are not compelled by reality to alter their policies, their promises, and their actions based on the will of the people. No, it's based on the political imperative, whatever that happens to be, whatever political party that is. In other words, the ruling class ruling itself. as opposed to the government of the United States working to the benefit of the people of the United States. That's the way I see it. How about you? This is the Wells.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Telephone number 817-379-2172. USA Today reports that Russia is escalating its election meddling efforts with a focus on denigrating Vice President Kamala Harris to help elect Donald Trump. This according to U.S. intelligence officials. U.S. intelligence officials. The same one that talked about Hunter Biden's laptop? Those intelligence officials, as a matter of fact, some of them are. Okay. So we are very sure, all of us are very sure that we are being propagandized. Okay, we're all sure of it. We can see it, we can read it, we hear about it all the time. If you still are not convinced, watch any 15-minute segment of MSNBC. So we're pretty sure that we're being propagandized. All right? Well, okay. Why isn't it devastatingly effective? I'll tell you why. Because even in the propaganda, you find abject incompetence. Russia is escalating its election meddling efforts. And we know it's meddling because, well, it denigrates Vice President Kamala Harris and tries to help elect Donald Trump. So I talk an awful lot about how a lot of things that we read in the newspapers and in the mainstream media fly in the face of logic. Ask yourself, would Vladimir Putin be in a better position to do what is said to be his agenda if Donald Trump was in the picture or if President Kamala Harris was in the picture? Seems to me that Russia would probably get a better deal out of the United States if Kamala Harris was the president. Is this the misdirection, mischaracterization, disinformation that's being used as a substitute for journalism in the United States? It's possible. But this doesn't even make sense. USA Today continues, the Kremlin is continuing or creating new videos and altering existing clips, in some cases using artificial intelligence to undermine the Democrat nominee and alienate her to potential supporters as Harris is locked in a tight race with Trump 43 days from Election Day. This, according to intelligence officials. This is something else that flies in the face of logic. Why are intelligence officials commenting on domestic politics in the first place? Why would intelligence officials care one way or another? Their job is to not discuss American politics. Their job is to sift the incredible avalanche of information from around the world every second into some kind of cogent data useful in making national decisions. Who's making those decisions is none of their business. It's none of their business. And it shouldn't be any of their business. And intelligence officials should have no reason to even bother commenting one way or another. It's not their job. But here they are again. Exhibit A. In a background briefing that officials gave on Monday, to who? Nobody knows. A widely distributed report from a bogus news site falsely claimed that Harris left a 13-year-old girl paralyzed in a hit and run. Intelligence officials monitoring overseas malign influence efforts have concluded Russia is using a variety of information operations to attack Harris and boost Trump. This is according to one official with the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, or the ODNI. The officials also released an election security update report to the public summarizing its most recent findings. Many of Russia's newest efforts on altering videos and boosting them across all social media platforms on divisive issues like immigration that it believes will cost Harris votes and help return Trump to the White House, according to the officials. Isn't that interesting? So if you can't necessarily argue that there is a problem with it, or argue against there being a problem in immigration, what you do is you say, well, it may not be real data that you're basing your argument on because of the
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. Good evening. My name is John David Wells, and you're saying, okay, John David, the show's been moving around time-wise for a while. Are you going to stick around to be on the air, say, for example, every evening around 8 to 10? Yes. For the next week, couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks. My schedule will change, and I will keep you informed, I promise. War is hell. It is absolute hell. It has always been so, as long as human beings have taken arms against each other for one reason or another. And there is a war going on. And it is in the Middle East again. USA Today reports as follows: explosions boomed across Lebanon as the Israeli army carried out its most widespread attacks on Lebanon in almost a year, killing nearly 500 people, wounding more than 1,600. This according to Lebanon's health ministry. The back-and-forth airstrikes between Israel and Hezbollah escalated dramatically in the past week after pagers and walkie-talkies used by the militant group exploded throughout Lebanon, killing 37, injuring more than 2,700. This in an Israeli-linked attack that Israel has not commented on. The bombings, on the other hand, are obvious. They are fueling fears of an all-out war between Israel and Hezbollah, which has fired increasingly on Israel over the ongoing war in Gaza. The Pentagon said it's sending more personnel to the region. More about that in just a few moments. We are extremely concerned, deeply worried about the escalation in Lebanon, said Ravina Shamdazani, a spokesperson for the UN High Commission for Human Rights, according to the Agence France-Presse news agency. The attacks that we saw on communications devices, the pagers, followed by rocket attacks and rocket fire being exchanged on both sides, marks a real escalation. People say they're worried about a broadening war in the Middle East. Well, we're here. Widespread airstrikes rained down from Lebanon's southern border to the country's north near Syria. A Hezbollah-linked television station reported Israeli warplanes struck towns near the eastern Bekaa Valley and northern Hermel. Video footage posted to social media showed thick plumes of smoke rising over buildings. The death toll in Lebanon rapidly climbed to nearly 500, including 35 children, according to Lebanese authorities. Israel's military said it had struck more than 300 Hezbollah targets. Quote, on this day, we have taken out of order tens of thousands of rocket and precise munitions. What Hezbollah has built over a period of 20 years since the Second Lebanon War is in fact being destroyed by the IDF. This according to Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant in a statement referring to the Israeli Defense Forces. An Israeli strike on Beirut's southern suburbs during the evening, which was earlier for us this morning, targeted senior Hezbollah leader Ali Karaki, the head of the group's southern front. A security source told Reuters it's unclear if Karaki has survived the attack. A court in Azerbaijan found Karaki and other Hezbollah operatives guilty in 2009 of plotting attacks on the Israeli and U.S. embassies in the capital of Baku. They were sentenced to 15 years in prison each. It's unclear how much time the defendants actually served. Did people receive warning calls, asks USA Today. As the explosions sounded, people from southern Lebanon to Beirut received warning calls from Israel to immediately evacuate from any Hezbollah posts. A Beirut resident living near the Saudi embassy told Reuters they received a 30 to 40-second call on their landline. Quote, they were freaking out. I'm freaking out as well because we thought somehow the area we lived in is safe because we're surrounded by ambassadors, said the person. Ziad Makari, Lebanon's information minister, said on X that his ministry had received a warning call deeming it psychological warfare and intimidation. The Ministry of Information refused to evacuate and was carrying on work as usual, said Makari. The head of the Lebanese telecom operator told Reuters on Monday, today, that people across the country received more than 80,000 suspected Israeli calls ordering them to evacuate. Nowhere in the history of human conflict has one warring country done so much to try to save collateral damage among the citizenry of a country it was attacking. Ever. And they have done this for decades. Even in Gaza, people living in a building that was about to be attacked by Israel either got telephone calls, texts, or a very expensive knock on the ceiling, on the roof of the building they were in. What is that? Well, that's where they fire an unarmed guided missile toward a particular building, hit it, it doesn't explode. Hello? The rockets that do explode come afterwards. Get out is the message. And apparently that happened here with Lebanon. But no, it was just a threat and intimidation, psychological warfare. How would you think it was psychological warfare when hundreds of Hezbollah terrorists had their pockets explode with resultant, horrifying wounding injuries? Why would they think that it would be psychological warfare and simply an intimidation tactic? I'm sorry, but if I got that message from Israel and say, for example, I was living in southern Lebanon, I would leave. I don't think it's intimidation or psychological warfare. By golly, I think they're serious. Okay. Ahead of a White House meeting with Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, President of the United Arab Emirates, President Joe Biden said he was working to tamp down the violence. Mr. President, it's not working. I continue to be in contact with our counterparts, and we're working to de-escalate in a way that allows people to return home safely. I'm sorry. It's just so preposterous. It's so preposterous as to be farcical. Okay. Lebanon is firing rockets into unarmed neighborhoods in Israel. Israel is not going to say, stop it or I'll blow this whistle. No. They're going to bomb you. They've been doing it for decades. It's the craziest thing. You go out and you indiscriminately kill Jews and the IDF shows up. Isn't it strange? No, it's not strange. It's exactly what happens. Moreover, it's exactly what should happen. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. The people in southern Lebanon, just like the people in Gaza, know exactly who Hezbollah is. People in Gaza knew exactly who Hamas was. And yet they supported them anyway. Now, is that intimidation on the part of Hezbollah and Hamas? In other words, if you leave, we'll shoot you on the way out the door, which apparently happened in Gaza several times. Is that why people stay? I don't know. I have no idea. I can't explain it. My God. The Israeli Defense Force bombed schools in Gaza, and kids just trying to go to school got killed. I know. Don't send your kids to school, especially when there's a rocket factory in the basement. What am I missing? Am I missing anything? Don't send your kids to school. Or is it that your support of Hamas is more important than your child's life? Hi, this is the Israeli Defense Force. We're about to obliterate the building you're sitting in. You should leave. Nope. Gonna stay right here. Yep. It's just intimidation. That's psychological warfare. Biden and other world leaders have long warned that failure to win a ceasefire in Gaza could lead to a wider war. Duh. Talks to end the fighting and return scores of surviving hostages taken by Hamas on October 7th were on life support as Israel strikes rained on Lebanon. Okay. What about the rocket attacks from Hezbollah? Why are they talking about how, well, the talks of a ceasefire were damaged because Israel was fighting back after rocket attacks from both Gaza and Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. Why aren't they saying these talks are on life support because of Hamas attacks and Hezbollah attacks against Israel? Again, is this something that I just noticed that nobody else does? Can't be. Can't be. For 11 months, the Biden administration said this was the red line. They didn't want the war to leave Gaza, said Mahmoud Bazi, the director of the Kevorkian Center. Stop laughing. The Kevorkian Center for Near Eastern Studies at New York University. This is the largest single-day death toll in Lebanon since the darkest days of the 1975 to 1990 civil war. Israel Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari said Israel launched strikes following indications that Hezbollah was preparing to fire towards Israeli territory. The calls to Lebanese residents' phones were an advance warning for your own safety and the safety of your family. Hezbollah is endangering you and your families. Israeli army spokesperson Avishai Andre said the airstrikes were targeting homes where Hezbollah hid weapons. Yoav Gallant, Israel's defense minister, said in a video Israel was deepening its attacks on Lebanon. The actions will continue until we achieve our goal to return the northern residents of Israel safely to their homes. By the way, I have to point this out too. Why wouldn't Israelis move away out of these neighborhoods where Hezbollah had shown a proclivity of launching rockets into them? Again, it's a lot like the people who live in the United States in the Mississippi River Valley. You know, all those states where the mighty, muddy Mississippi flows through and floods every year like clockwork. So you're going to find a different place, maybe, say, for example, buy a house outside the flood zone? Nope. No, we're going to stay here. We're going to rebuild. Wait. This happens every year. Yep. And we rebuild every year because this is our land. No, that land belongs to the Mississippi River. Get a house outside the floodplain. I was raised here. I'm not going anywhere. Okay. This is my home. I've lived in northern Israel for all my life and my family's lives. And it's more important to me that I stay in my ancestral home than it is to avoid rockets coming from some other country. Well, it's not even a country, coming from a terrorist organization to destroy my house. I've lived in southern Lebanon my whole life, and my family, we've been here for generations. Hezbollah, yeah, okay, they're going out and killing Jews, but we're not going to get out of the way of the IDF, even if they call us on the phone and say, go. Okay, so the Lebanese health ministry says 500 people were killed. More than 2,500 people wounded. Why? Sometimes you just have to run away. You do. You just have to run away. Don't you? Don't you? Speaking to CBS's Face the Nation on Sunday, Israeli President Isaac Herzog said that Hezbollah's near-daily attacks on Israel since the start of the Israeli-Hamas war have forced 100,000 Israelis from their homes. Good. Now, it's not good that they're being forced from their homes. That's true. But at least they left. Gallant said he had briefed U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin on the latest strikes. Austin expressed his support for Israel's right to defend itself and stressed the importance of finding a path toward a diplomatic solution. By the way, Hezbollah said today it launched dozens of rockets towards Israel military posts in retaliation. The group launched the attack in support of our defiant Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip and as a response to the brutal Israeli massacre when the pagers and walkie-talkies exploded, according to the statement. So terrorists lob bombs against innocent civilians. It comes out of nowhere, and people say, what the heck? And all Israel did was gave them a first-hand knowledge of what that feels like. And you'd be amazed how many people thought it was a good idea.
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
This is the Wells Report for Monday, the 23rd day of September, year of our Lord, 2024. Stacy, thank you, John. Been listening to you for many years. Thanks for what you do, sir. Stacy, it's a privilege. It's a privilege. When this show first got together, when we first did it on September 11th, 2001, it's when this show started. It has been a mission to tell the truth. Yeah, there's commentary, and I suppose that, a dry recitation of fact is something that I spend a lot of time talking about. I do. But there has to be thinking and discussion that goes on about those facts. And I appreciate those people that spend the time and give us that input. So we were talking about the walkie-talkie and pager attacks that apparently Israel perpetrated on Hezbollah terrorists. And it's amazing how many people thought that that was a really, really, really good idea. One of the persons who thought it was a really, really good idea was Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman, who was on Meet the Press over the weekend.
This week, as you know, a new front opened in the war in the Middle East, jeopardizing ceasefire talks. Senator Bernie Sanders accused Prime Minister Netanyahu of sabotaging a deal. Take a look at what he said.
Every time a deal appears close, Netanyahu moves the goalposts, introducing new demands and torpedoing the deal. It is clear to me that Netanyahu is prolonging the war in order to cling to power.
Senator, you have stood firmly behind Israel, but do you agree with any part of what your colleague, Senator Sanders, said there?
No, not at all. And I want to be very clear. I thought what Israel chose to do about blowing up the pagers and then walkie-talkies, and then after targeting and eliminating membership and leadership of Hezbollah, I absolutely support that. And in fact, if anything, I love it. And Israel demonstrated that they will not allow terrorists not to be held accountable. And I fully support that. And it's not about nothing that has what my colleague has said.
Yeah. Yeah. And Bernie Sanders, once again, blaming Israel for defending itself. This is absurd. It's not just absurd, it's nuts. I mean, nuts. N-U-T-Z, nuts. It's not Israel's problem. It's Hezbollah and Hamas's problem. How come everybody's attacking Israel for attacking Hezbollah and Hamas? Those two organizations have one thing in mind: killing Jews. By terrorist means, attacking in the middle of the night, firing rockets indiscriminately into neighborhoods of Israel, overflowing the borders of the Gaza Strip, while there was a truce going on to kill anybody that was Jewish that they could find. Over 1,200, in fact. And Israel laid waste to Gaza. I said at the time, Israel should bulldoze the place. Well, the bulldozers are working, and maybe that'll happen. But no matter what you think about Palestinians, and if there are any innocent Palestinians that are dying, that's regrettable. If there are any people living with Hezbollah in southern Lebanon that are killed because they happen to be standing too close to a guy with a pager in his pocket, again, regrettable. But these people know who these terrorists are. So what are you going to do, Bill? Well, I'm going to go over to the Hezbollah local number 865 and play some poker. Apparently, one of the bigwigs from Hezbollah is going to be there, and I want to take some of his money. Well, wait a minute. What if a rocket comes crashing through the building and kills you? That'll never happen. It's psychological warfare. It's nothing real. Mm-hmm. And Bernie Sanders bravely saying that every time peace is close, Israel screws it up. Huh? And he's doing it with a straight face. Speaking of playing poker. I mean, Bernie, you're adult. I like John Fetterman when he said that. I don't agree with his politics, but yeah, as a matter of fact, I thought it was a great idea. As a matter of fact, I loved it. It's fantastic. It was. Were innocents killed? Yeah. Were innocents maimed in Lebanon? Yeah. But is that the accountability that comes when you wage an undeclared war against the Jews? Yeah. Yeah. That's what happens. This has been the Wells Report. Once again, thanks very much for being a part of our broadcast. And thanks for saying such nice things, Stacey. That's awfully nice of you, my friend. And I appreciate the fact that you've been around for years. It means a lot. This is a mission. This is not anything beyond that. And I will see you again to continue that mission tomorrow night, beginning at 8 o'clock Central Time for another edition of the Wells Report. Until then, be safe. Make good decisions. God bless you and yours, and have a nice sleep.